appreciate you being here, Ryan. So let's go straight back to the start. I want to know, how was school?
How was school?
How was school?
School, I was a bit naughty at school. I didn't
Yeah.
really want to listen. I didn't really want to pay attention because I thought that I'm going to just pursue my own thing eventually one day anyway. And half of the curriculum that they're teaching us wasn't really, I thought, beneficial for what I want to be doing. So, yeah.
So what did you want to be doing?
Well, I knew that I wanted to be, I knew that I wanted to be in business. And I used to think that I wanted to go and work with my dad, roofing and everything else, and just going down that route. I didn't really care about anything else.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
What, is that because you thought you don't really need maths, English, science to be like a tradesman?
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
So you knew what you wanted to do before leaving school?
Yes, I knew that I wanted to be successful in my own endeavour, and I wanted to just. And my avenue first was going to be the roofing business, because that's what my dad used to be teaching me. So like, come and do this at the weekends, like work experience. And yeah, I suppose he just sort of brainwashed me into thinking that I could do something like that. And I didn't find myself being very academic. I had a short attention span at school.
Yeah.
And then, I just got in also with the wrong crowd at school. And I didn't really look at it serious enough, I suppose. But I suppose it might be, half of that might be in my background at home and stuff. There wasn't really much attention on myself when I was a young kid, because I grew up with two disabled sisters. So my mum's attention was on them a lot, and they had a lot of issues in and out of hospitals and things like that. So yeah, I suppose I just kind of went off and done.
Do you know that kind of
behaviour child
relates? I think that relates to how you are now, because you just take the training and run with it.
Yeah.
So do you think that your childhood has kind of stepped into your adulthood and the way you go about things now?
Oh yeah, massively. Yeah, I feel like when you're younger, your childhood and things you go through make you who you are when you're older.
100%. Yeah.
And you can either become a victim to it, or you can change.
Yeah, 100%. Because there's this classic
yourself.
saying, isn't there? I'm an alcoholic because my dad was an alcoholic, or I'm not an alcoholic because my dad was an alcoholic.
Yeah, my dad was.
Yeah.
So he was down the pub every single day after work. He was just an old school tradesman. You know, he worked till 3 o'clock in the afternoon and went down the pub and then come home drunk, fell asleep. Yeah, that type of material. But he did install into me hard work and graft, and he still gave me that old school mentality. Unfortunately, I just couldn't work with him when I did actually like go to work with him, if that makes sense. Right. Because I just didn't gel with him at all. Like we just clashed way too much.
So your plan throughout school was to work with your dad.
Yeah.
Then that died a death. What happened next?
I knew I still wanted to be in the building trade, so I applied for 3 different courses at college: electrician, plumbing, and bricklaying. I got the bricklaying one. They selected that one out of all of them. So I did that. I spent a few years on site, laying bricks, and I did my apprenticeship and everything. And then from there, I could see that there was potential in other areas of construction, and I see that I didn't want to be doing this. I wanted to do what that guy was doing over there, who was walking around managing the sites. I wanted to do that. So I then took myself back to college and started all over again.
Okay.
And just learned what I do now at the minute, which is construction, and I just wanted to go into site management, and that's what I did. I followed that, and then that's where I am now at the minute.
So how old are you now?
35.
So how long did it take you to get to that stage where you are now?
So I did my apprenticeship for site management. Well, it was apprenticeship for various things and it was like engineer, quantity surveying, but I took the site management role. And that was when I was 23. I did my apprenticeship. That was a 4-year apprenticeship. Yeah. So what does that make? It's 8 years.
Yeah.
So in 8 years I've since obviously left college and pursued this full time.
So you're in that full time. How did you discover rent to rent, and what led you down that path to even discover it?
Yeah, so obviously I went into I went into e-commerce. I dabbled in a few things like Forex, but I could never trust it enough, and I thought it was too much higher risk compared to the reward.
Yeah. I tried Forex as well.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, and not actively trading myself, but paid for a bot, which was meant to be all singing, all dancing.
Yeah.
You know, their students are making massive returns. Sold the dream, invested 3K because that was what was advised to put in minimum.
Mm-hmm.
So it has a substantial amount to kind of trade with.
Yeah.
1 or 2 or 3%. Yeah, I lost $3,000 in 3 months. Just gradually watch it go to zero. And what was really frustrating is you're watching it and you're like, why is it not selling? It should be selling right now. And then all of a sudden the market's crashing. And you're like, it's so frustrating.
Luckily for me, I didn't really invest that much into it.
Yeah.
I wanted to play around with it first. There's no good doing demos of it because the demos, you're a better ratio on your, I suppose, on your buys and your sells and things. So yeah, but anyway, like I say, I looked into other things. I just wanted a good business model basically that I was interested in, that I could run with, that I thought was actually gonna do me well. And then do you know what? I actually can't pinpoint the moment of when I thought or see rent to rent. All I remember is that I was away travelling. I don't know how we become friends or followed you on Facebook or something like that.
Yeah.
And I just watched you grow basically, and then obviously your menteeship just went a bit crazy, and I just thought at some point I would love to do this.
Yeah.
I did sort of have a look on YouTube and things like that, and watch people, you know, do the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I thought, what a great way to get into property, because it's always something that I've actually wanted to do, is like property develop and things like that. And I thought this was a good avenue to go into it, into the property. Like you say, there's no big outlay at the start, and then obviously you're not actually owning the properties, which was really appealing. So that's why I've run with it basically.
So what was the turning point from all of that then to deciding to go for mentorship?
I suppose I think, like I say, I was away travelling, and I knew that I needed to come back to something that was going to give me more out of life. So my career was never going to be enough. Working for someone else is never going to be enough.
So that was your motivation?
Yeah, I achieved what I wanted to do, which was I wanted to be a site manager. And then it was like, I spent all that time trying to achieve that. What was it for? Like, I didn't really, I had a goal, reached it, and now I'm on a different path to reach another goal.
Yeah.
And it's like, say,
prior to rent to rent, did you think goals were just something on like New Year's resolution? Did you think goals were cheesy?
No.
So you've always had specific goals.
Yeah.
And chased them, achieved them.
Yeah.
So mentorship was just a no-brainer for you.
Yes. Yeah. I thought there's just no limits to it, and if I want to become what I've always said I wanted to be, which was, I've always said I'd love to be a millionaire, because I just know that it will give me so much more freedom, and it'll enable me to look after people around me and things like that, and that's exactly what I want to do.
Yeah, I always say, look, to look after other people, you got to look after number one.
Exactly.
To then look after number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah. If you're not in a good space, everyone around you is not going to be benefiting from that. They're going to be affected from that. So, yeah, I completely agree.
So what was your initial thoughts and feelings at the start of the mentorship when you joined? What was running through your head?
So when I first paid you the money and then I started, I was like, basically this is it now. I've got to make it work.
Yeah.
Like, it's not down to you guys to see me through this. I need to take whatever your training.
Just trust the process.
And whatever your training program is, take that. Listen. You know, I don't know anything. I've got to listen to the people that have done it, and that was what I did. And I just thought, 100 mile an hour, you just need to go it, and just think, this is what I do with anything. Anything I do, I want to put my all into it. I always want to be the best at it.
Yeah.
So
I can completely relate to that. I don't do anything by halves. It's like, I didn't start going to the gym until I had the mindset to, never quit. As soon as I start something, it's like, I don't plan on ever giving this up. This isn't a 3-month thing. This isn't a 6-month thing. Everyone thought when I started rent to rent, it's just another phase that Kenny is going through. I've never gone through phases. never. I don't know where that even come from, but you know, mountain biking, that's from the age of 15. I've done mountain biking. Jet skiing is another hobby. We still do it. Like, you know, fitness, if I'm going to start fitness, it's for the rest of my life. So, yeah, I can completely relate to that. If you're going to start something, there's no finish. This is the start. Let's do it.
Yeah. There's no point. I don't see any point in doing anything if you're not going to give all your energy and effort into it. Like,
did you have any doubts and concerns around mentorship?
No, not really. No.
Yeah. So you must have been following me for a long time to be like...
Yeah, it was about a year and a half, I think.
A year and a half?
Yeah.
So
I wasn't, like I say, I wasn't in a position. I was abroad.
Yeah.
I sold I've got 2 little girls. We was a family of 4, and I sold my house because I wanted to escape the everyday rat race bullshit, basically.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I had my house up for sale. The plan was to buy another house. The houses were not doing it for me. Something wasn't doing it for me. I said, like, that's it. I need to get up with a no alarm clock.
Well, it's the traditional route, isn't it? You know, alarm clock.
Yeah.
Go to work, mortgage, family.
Yeah.
Work for the rest of your life. I know it sounds patronising, but as soon as you kind of see an escape route and more of an exciting life, either people think, no, I'm happy with what I've got.
Yeah.
Or you're the type of person like me and you, it's like always chasing the better yourself.
Mm.
You know, the better version of you is 2 years ahead.
Yeah.
I'm always chasing that person.
Yeah.
And actually even trying to beat that person.
Mm-hmm.
You know? What I'm willing to do in 2 years, willing to do it right now. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I completely relate to that.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I did what I wanted to do. Again, I wanted to go travelling, and I wasn't gonna let anything stop me just because I've got 2 young girls. So we bought a camper van. We went abroad with just clothes on our back. Everyone thought I was loopy. Everyone thought I was stupid. What am I coming back to? What have I got now? Like, bored. It's boring. Life is boring. I do not want to be doing that. I want to be able to live the memories, you know. I want to be able to look back in years to come and be like, look, I didn't wait till I was 60 or retired to go travelling, and by then I was half crippled. Do you know what I mean? I wanted to do it while I was still young and just take my kids. And to be honest with you, taking the kids was amazing. Like, they got to see the world.
Yeah.
It was their education. But whilst I was away, I knew that obviously at some point I've got to come back. This is only temporary.
Well, we were talking at that point.
Yeah, we was, yeah. And then when I got back, it was probably about 4 weeks after being back, and I booked a call with you because I wanted to see what I needed and everything else.
Yeah.
And then obviously from there, it took me 1 year to then actually start with you.
Was it?
Yeah.
After our initial call?
After our initial call, yeah. Because I'd just come back, I was on my arse, didn't
Yeah.
have nothing. I didn't have, you know, I had my own house and everything.
Yeah, see, I speak to a lot of, Monday to Friday, just back-to-back calls for me, right?
Yeah.
And there's quite a lot of people that, I say quite a lot, there's a few people that I speak to, I'm like, you know, going to start in 6 months. I'm like, no, you won't. You know, I don't say that, but in the back of my head, I'm like, no, you won't.
Mm.
Because 95% of them I never see again, never hear again. If they say to me, like, can we have a call? I'm looking to start in 6 months. I don't have the call.
Mm.
Because 95% of them are kind of wasting my time, really.
Yeah. I don't think I mentioned when I'm going to start to you on the first initial call. I just wanted to get that info. I needed to know what I needed because then I was gonna get it at some point. It might have been. I think it was actually like 1 year and a month later, like January, and it was like the next February.
Was that always your intention? That time of year to start?
No,
What triggered you to start?
My intention was once I have got that initial sort of money there to invest it, that's exactly what it was.
Right.
And that year from when I spoke to you, a lot went on in that year. Like, you know, we broke as a family and everything else, which is another story. But I think what I did was I sort of just was like, I'm living my life again a little bit for this year. Like, I'm going on a few holidays with the boys. Do you know what I mean? Get it out of my system a bit. Do you know what I mean? I just spent a lot of time as a family, and it was difficult. So I still knew I was going to come and do this, but in January this year, I had done a tax rebate in April. So I think it was basically 4 months after I spoke to you initially, I did a tax rebate. It never landed in my bank. it really randomly hit my bank at the end of January, and I was just like, that's the money, there you go, that's the sign, bang. So that's what I did. I booked the call with you, and then obviously, yeah, went from there.
Do you have any specific moment where you overcome a major thing on the mentorship, and like the mentors helped you, or the community and the mentorship helped you?
Not as such. Like the training, I found like the training was really good because it's one of those that it's not long-winded.
Yeah.
It tells you exactly what you need to know, and you can do it in a quick space of time, in a short space of time, basically.
It's not full of fluff at all, is it?
No, yeah, and that's exactly what I like because, like I say, I'll end up veering off if it takes too long, and I think that was just right, to be honest. And then I think for me it was more, it got better when I sort of just tweaked how I dealt with the phone calls.
Yeah.
And I tweaked. I was sort of chasing landlords direct because I suppose my debts in the background was making me believe that I actually wasn't going to be able to pursue it with a letting agent because they're going to want too much information. But when I knew I could actually work the system a little bit and use a letting agent, I was like, right, I'm hounding them now, and that's it. So I went crazy on the phone calls, and within like probably about 3 weeks of doing that, I landed my first offer.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
How did the mentors?
Roughly, yeah.
How did the mentors support you on that?
Yeah, the mentors were great. Like you guys were brilliant, and because, like I say, Ivan's just dealing with SA solely, SA.
Yeah.
That helped massively as well,
Yeah.
because, like I say, he was the one that showed me there is ways of doing it with the letting agent. So yeah, completely, completely agreed with what he said basically,
Yeah.
and I thought this is great. So
Yeah. So tell me, how did it feel when the offer was accepted on that property? What was running through your mind?
I was like, shit, now what am I going to do? I was like, now the serious work starts. You know what I mean? Like, I knew what was coming, which was obviously a lot of hard work and a lot of preparation, and finding a way to source it basically, because I didn't completely have all the money aside. So you go in, like you say, you go in sort of with an offer, but sometimes you still got to try and find the money in the background. And I think that's probably kind of a good thing sometimes, because otherwise you'd just be forever waiting. You never actually would put an offer into people unless do you know what I mean? You might not get the money for a long time.
Yeah.
And then you just make it work because you've been accepted on your offer. You then find ways to source that amount of money that they need.
Yeah, you're either in one or the other position when starting. You either have the money, or you just have the money, or you don't. You know, when I first started, I paid a mentor $3,000, and I was straight back down to zero, like zero. You know, I just thought I just got to start the training. It's going to take me on average 3 months to secure my first deal. By that point, I can sell a few things, save up a bit of money, and hopefully have $3,500 ready for the first property. You know, I just want one HMO. That's it. One rent-to-rent HMO. And then fast forward, I think it was actually about 80 days, I secured 3 HMOs. And,
Wow.
First month's rent, 5 weeks deposit, all needed refurbing.
Yeah.
I put all the costs together and I was like, crap, I need $11,000. At the time I had a classic Defender sat on the drive. I converted that to an Overlander, so one you can camp in. Never ever intended on selling it. And then when you enter entrepreneur mode and business minded, you look at it. You look at things like, is that a liability or an asset? And I looked at it as a liability. Like I could sell that for £12,000. I could buy 3 or 4 deals with that, which would profit me probably £2,500 a month. So then I'm starting to look at the truck, thinking it's a piece of shit that never works anyway, and it's costing me £2,500 a month.
Yeah.
Just to keep it. So that wouldn't ever leave my mind. So I sold it for $14,000, and then had the funds to take on all 3 HMOs, because it was running through my mind like, I can only afford to take on one. Do I sell the other 2 deals? But then by selling deals, because it was through an estate agent, I'm introducing another rent-to-rent person to the same agent.
Yeah.
Like, then I'll possibly lose future business. might be skeptical, but I just wanted everything to myself. Worked hard to get these deals. I don't want to give them away or sell them. So I sold the truck. And that's how my journey started. So I didn't have. This is why I tell everybody, you can start with 3.5k. You know, because that's what I had ready to start. And if it was just the one property, 3.5k would have done it. If I took on all three.
Yeah.
Yeah, jumped in at the deep end. So how did achieving your first deal change your perspective and confidence in the rent-to-rent business model?
I think it sells your confidence massively, because you know that what you have been learning and what you've paid for has come to fruition. Basically, you know that it is possible. It's all right seeing people do it, but sometimes you think, were they just lucky?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's human nature at the end of the day. I think that's just where it all stems down to. People think it's like when people think things are a scam, and but
I was very skeptical when I first come across rent-to-rent. I
Yeah.
thought, the mentorship I was studying, I thought all their mentees were on like affiliate programs. Are they being paid to say this? Is that a fake interview with their friend just to try and grow their business? So
Yeah.
I never messaged the mentors. I was messaging the mentees. And I was asking them careful questions to not give away that I was interested in the mentorship, and I was just very skeptical, typical worker-minded. But then you just become sold on it. So how many phone calls did you make? Did you track your business? How many phone calls did you make till you landed your first offer? Until you landed the first deal accepted?
I can't be sure, but it's probably over 100.
So 2 weeks work?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it took you 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Plus, obviously, the calls that I made previous to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably overall about 100 and something. I can't be sure. Like I say, I probably have got the evidence on my phone if I look back at it. But yeah, I think there's actually a tracker. It might actually be. I think it might be 187.
Yeah.
I've got that in my head for some reason.
Yeah, nice work. It's all
and
down to that consistency. So how is your rent-to-rent business going now?
Well, I've got my first service accommodation property 2 weeks ago today. It went live on all platforms, and in that 2 weeks, I've raked in over £7,000 worth of bookings
In 2 weeks?
in 2 weeks.
£7,000
Yeah,
worth of bookings.
yeah.
So how much do you think this property is going to profit you per month?
I'm gonna speak respectively. I'd say probably about 1,500 on an average over a year.
Yeah, nice. I think more. I genuinely do. A 4-bed SA in your area.
Yeah. Between 1,500 and 2k.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so what sort of challenges have you faced so far?
Since starting with a new property. I've sort of. Do you know what? Without sounding big enough, I think I've managed it quite well. Like basically, I knew that the start of this, like the painting that needed doing, I wasn't going to have time to do it. I work 50 hours on a building site, and I'm an hour and a half from there, and I have kids that I need to look after at weekends. So I just cut my losses, paid a painter from work a decent rate, and it was a decent rate for myself because I could have been quoted a lot more. And I thought, right, if I get him in and out done within 10 days of work, that would be quicker for me to have that property up and running, quicker for me to start getting profit. If I did it myself, it was going to be probably, with work, probably about 5-6 weeks before I even finished painting. So it was a bit of a no-brainer for me, really. Like I thought, if I pay him, cut losses, get it over the line quicker, that way I can start bringing profit more, and it'll actually benefit me more. Do you know what I mean? So I managed to find the money to do that. But the challenges were probably, I don't know, I had to go down on Wednesday, just gone, and basically go and unblock a drain, which was not the most pleasant of jobs, but that was a funny little obstacle to get over. But you learn something all the time when you do these things. So I didn't get home till 11 p.m. and obviously it was straight for after work, and then it was straight back to work again the next morning. So it took a bit of time out of my evening, to be honest, but we got there in the end. But challenge wise, I would say probably for myself, like I've never really also been that great at interior design. I
Yeah.
feel like I need that woman's touch or something,
Yeah.
and I haven't got anyone to share that with. I haven't got, also so far away from my family and any of my mates
Yeah,
that,
fair play, because having the woman's touch is, you know,
yeah,
I think quite important.
maybe that's the feminine side coming out of me.
Yeah.
Maybe I've got skills I didn't even know about. But yeah, no, the cleaner, the lady cleaner, she said it's really what you've done is really good. I've just took very basic colours and looked at other properties
Yeah.
and just basically put it together and made it my own basically. But yeah, I suppose the other challenge is, like I say, not having any family members or friends to help physically, because I went down there and I had 4 days to furnish the whole damn thing, and that meant going out from where I was to the shops nearby, getting what I needed, doing it on the best budget as I can, being a 4-bed, and it's a huge house. It's like big characteristic bedrooms and, you know, hallways.
Yeah, it's
and
stunning property.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
huge. Lounge is huge. So yeah, I just had to make it work on a budget, and that was probably the most difficult thing. But yeah, I think I'll be adding some more bits later. But at the minute, it's good.
Get the profit coming
Yeah,
in and then
yeah.
evolve. Okay, so what does the future of your rent business look like? What's your goals going forward?
I want to secure 3 deals this side of Christmas, before the year ends. That will then put me in a good stead to hopefully, well, to hand my notice in the new year. What I've got sort of a bit of a plan. I get a decent bonus from my job twice a year. So in March, I'll probably get the bonus from there, and then look at leaving after March, so that I've benefited as much as I can out of it, basically.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. What lessons do you feel like you've learned from this whole process, and how has it changed you as a person?
I suppose what I've learned is that anything is possible if you listen to advice from people around you that actually have been there and done it and got the experience. Not try and do things yourself. Then I feel like you're onto a winner.
What advice would you give to someone who is considering starting a rent-to-rent business?
I'd say start with Rise Up Mentorship, to be honest.
Yeah, he's not on an affiliate program, by the way.
No, I've actually generally told people. I've had people asking me questions since they've seen some bits on social media that I've done.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're inquisitive. They're asking
There's
questions.
a lot of people that message my mentees prior to messaging me, because I get it. They're skeptical. They're not going to message me because I'm biased. It's my training school.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I just do what I always think, which is I've done this and I've done it with you guys, and I just say to them, look, whatever you want to do, just do it with Kenny.
And do it properly. You know, if you're going to learn how to drive, you get driving instructors. Don't you? If you want to learn a language, you get someone to help you teach you language.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same.
Yeah.
You're learning something, get a teacher. Whether that's with
you're making
me,
it a lot more difficult for yourself.
it baffles me why people go at this without actual proper education.
Yeah.
It's an expensive game to get wrong.
Yeah. The fact I like the fact that obviously it's very one-to-one with you guys. You know, it's all right joining these big programs and mentorships and people that have, you know, like multi-millionaires, but you're never actually going to be dealing with them on a day-to-day basis.
No.
So their knowledge is not always going to be passed on to you. It'll be filtered through, you know, multiple coaches and trainees.
Call centre.
Yeah, and
you know, a call centre where there's 3 of us, isn't there? And Chris.
Yeah.
So you've got me, we've got Ivan and Dan, who are actively still building their rent-to-rent business as well. They were my students, now they're coaches, and they're teaching you directly. So they're on the front line with you.
But you're also not leaving them to it let them doing all your your training. You're still going in and you're still doing your calls with people.
Yeah.
Like, and I've been.
It's too much one-to-one support, I think.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah.
It can be.
But you can pick and
another
choose.
Zoom tonight.
But you can pick and choose. That's the beauty of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for me now, obviously, I just come on the calls just to have a catch up with you guys.
Yeah.
And more like
Holding
if there's people
holding yourself accountable as well, isn't it?
Yeah. And then obviously, like I say, is you can see other people coming through, and it sometimes it's nice to just think, well, you know, I'll go on and have my chat, and then I can also point people in the right direction and help out in that manner as well, you know.
So going back to school and looking at the person you was and the person you are now, how do you think you've grown as a person?
I'm a lot more focused. I'm a lot more driven.
If 17-year-old Ryan was right here, what advice would you give him?
I would say probably the things that you want to do start earlier on in your life, whereas before it's maturity, isn't it? Like
It is
I just wanted to live my life a little bit. I wanted to mess about. At the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like everyone's in their own lane.
I don't
in
think
life.
it's ever too late either, is it?
Nah, everyone's in their own lane. Like some people are millionaires at 20-year-old. Some people are not millionaires until they're 40 years old. So, like I say, everyone's on their own track at the end of the day.
Mr. Colonel, KFC, didn't start till he was 65.
Yeah.
So Ryan, have you built any major relationships on the program that you think you'll be friends for life, JV partners in the future?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, obviously I see you guys as not just mentors but as friends as well. And then I've got to know a couple of people through the Zoom calls and things like that. That there's a good possibility that, you know, at some point you need more funds to create a bit more leverage, then you might end up JVing with them.
Yeah,
people that you've got
there's
to know.
Multiple JVs on the mentorship for
Yeah.
sure. They all start as individuals. They JV, you know, Sam and Zach. There's been others. So we're not a large training school, nowhere near the likes of the huge training schools. And what's the hardest part of me is when the mentorship comes to an end, because ultimately I never used to have an end to the mentorship because I just wanted everybody to succeed. But in hindsight, that was detriment to people's results because they performed best under pressure. So then I had to introduce a duration to the one-to-one support. And the hardest part for me is when it comes to an end, because you're not just clients, you're not just coming through and you go out the back door and never speak again. It's like everyone that comes through the training, I will remember forever. Every single person, even to the people that quit. You know, we can't help people quitting. They quit. They've tried it. They're happy they tried it. It didn't work for them, or you know, they didn't make it work for them. I'll remember everybody forever. So, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure, like, to have you on our program. I'm super happy you've got a very successful property.
Thank you.
I think the future for you is very bright. I really do. I think, you know, looking at the sound of your childhood and how it's gone into your adult life, that mindset is just so resilient. Nothing is going to stop you. You're very similar to myself. Completely different childhood. But, you know, it's just, if you're going to do something, do it 100% and give it your all. So, yeah, I think you're going to be very successful, bro.
Thank you,
So
bro.
appreciate you coming down, sharing your story with everyone on YouTube. Yeah, everyone, this is Ryan's story and how he secured his first serviced accommodation. Well done, bro.
Thanks, guys. Nice one for that.